my topic straight up without incriminating yourself. So nothing, let's keep this above the belt here and out of the bedroom.
Above the belt, out of the bedroom. Gotcha.
Was he looking at me when he said that? I was looking at me.
No.
No.
What is your guilty pleasure?
My guilty pleasure.
So you can frame that however you want. Most times it's going to be something you would rather people don't know about you.
I'm a pretty open book about this stuff, but I mean, there's still stuff I'm pretty ashamed of loving. But I don't know. I've embraced so much of it. Like at one point, I probably would have said musical theater, but I'm unashamed of that now. I love cartoons and people make fun of me for it, but I don't care. Like I watch Steven Universe. It's just for kids. There's no one. Well, it also is. There's like mature themes to it, but no one's.
Well, yeah,
there's no
mature
joke
themes in
about it.
Adventure Time too. Sure.
Well, yeah, exactly. But there are.
There aren't though, really. I mean, there sort of are. Princess Bubblegum is weirdly attractive.
Well, they have like there's. I don't want to make it into a debate about that, but there are. I've watched a lot of Adventure Time. There are moments where it does touch on adult
You can admit it. Lumpy Space Princess does it for some people.
Lumpy Space Princess is hilarious. I gotta beat that shit. But
You guys want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
No.
I kind of do, but
Dumb and Dumber. Dumb and Dumber. The original.
That's your guilty
They
pleasure?
should have just left it. Oh, damn it. Does that count? Mine was going to be chocolate covered almonds.
That's a guilty pleasure.
That's a good guilty
that's
pleasure.
Fair.
I could say eating junk food, but I
Eating
guess
all
that is
food,
probably the
but-
thing I feel most guilty about is the way I eat. So maybe junk food. I'll think, and if I think of another really juicy one, I'll let you know. But
Tyrion Lannister says if you recognize all your faults in Game of Thrones, George R. R. Martin,
Okay.
love that guy, yeah. Tyrion is this tiny. Do you know Game
I
of Thrones?
don't watch that show, no.
Oh, okay.
It's a book series. You'd love the books. Read the books. Don't watch the show.
Oh, okay.
Tyrion is this impish little man who's got daddy issues and he's got a bad rap, and then he ends up with some facial deformities. At
Don't
one
give
point,
it too much away.
Okay,
man.
sorry. At one point, pretty early on, and they do it in the book and in the show, he's talking to somebody, I forget who, I think Daenerys, and he says, like, if you recognize all your failings, all the chinks in your armor, and you build your armor out of all those failings, all those perceived flaws, when the world comes calling and tries to tell you everything that's wrong with you, they're going to find you completely indestructible because you've armored yourself with your knowledge and understanding that those are all my failings, and I'm turning them around and saying, like,
It's like Eminem in 8 Mile when he just raps about himself, and the
Yeah,
other guy's
yeah.
like, shit.
or like
Yeah.
any movement that's counterculture.
Yeah.
Like we've discussed that, and whether or not there is counterculture, but no one would dress any way other than normal if they weren't thinking like, I want to dress this way. You know what? Like, I'm going to do it, and if I own it and I become it, then no one can make fun of me for it, because they can make fun of me for it, but it won't hurt because I'm proud of it.
Yeah. So hold that thought.
buying
Because
Legos
that's the second
as
part
an
of my.
adult.
No.
That's the second part of my topic. What's your guilty pleasure?
I was thinking, I don't know that I have. Maybe vaping. I love vaping and
Yeah.
get some flack for that. Yeah,
Do
I
you
call
feel
that a
guilty
guilty.
about
I do. Yeah, and people sometimes give you looks like, look at that vapor over there.
Because you're
Look at that vapist.
or you're like in a library. You're like in the library or something.
Don't self-identify as a vapist.
It's just doing liquid carfentanil straight out of that little...
Yeah.
Get them all opioided out.
Yeah.
I've got to have a more embarrassing guilty pleasure. Like, I'm trying to think of something really, like, juicy. I can't, like, there's got to be
Well,
something.
yeah, Tom said we can't say our real ones, though.
No, we can
I just
say
said no. Like, don't self-incriminate yourself too badly.
Yeah, none of our real
And
ones.
we have
Don't start-
rules. We have some rules.
Yeah. Yeah,
Don't
I'm
say
gonna
bleep.
stick with junk food, because that is something I feel bad about, and I do eat a lot of junk food.
Sometimes I put the chocolate-covered almonds on the little Lego guys. I make the Lego guys hold them, and then I
Eat them.
those ones laugh.
They're so much more filling when you have this perspective of a tiny man.
And there were a few times.
Giant.
There were a few times where I would also get drunk and eat a lot of chocolate covered almonds and play Lego. And there were 1 or 2 times where I definitely broke wine glasses and or spilt wine everywhere because I was busy vigorously playing Legos with a wine glass and a wine bottle just on the coffee table while I'm freaking Scooby-Doo's chasing down the tree monster zombie thing. And then,
Is this a recent activity?
This is what I was going for right here.
Yeah. Recent activity? Like, so did you start drinking young, or did you keep playing Lego old?
this would have been last August.
Lego old.
My partner at the time came home and was actually she was surprisingly she saw we were still pretty solid then, so she saw the humor in the whole. So you got drunk and spilled wine everywhere because you were vigorously playing Legos.
Can you act out vigorously playing it with Lego?
What? Like Scooby's chasing the zombie, and then like the zombie, the big tree robot shows up, and then Scooby's all afraid, and you're like, I don't know what's gonna happen. But then here comes Shaggy in the freaking mystery mobile, and he's smashed into the tree monster.
Man,
And
you guys are awesome Legos.
it's relatively. I bought it like that last summer at Fincher's. Fincher's is terrible. Don't go there because they will sell you great Lego sets, and they're
So
expensive.
glad that went that way. It wasn't just like a
Like, oh my god, don't say that.
All right, so I got
Part 2.
2 parts.
Yep.
Well, first thing was I didn't say mine. I have this
Was it
like
watching Rudy?
no, I have this closet like really deep rooted appreciation for like early. I don't want to say early. Yeah, probably like 90s era country music.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Like Garth
That's-
Brooks?
Garth Brooks.
That used to
Alan
be a
Jackson.
guilty pleasure for me. But I just
Yeah,
embrace it now.
but-
Standing inside the fire, whatever that song
Standing
is.
outside the fire.
Standing outside the
That-
fire.
Yeah,
That fucking
that music video.
that gets you.
Yeah, hits right in the feels. So yeah, so that's my guilty pleasure, just to leave that one out of the table.
So that's what song we should crank if we're standing below your window holding the boombox.
No, you need to
In a
learn the.
trench coat?
Don't be so lazy. Learn the chords and sing it to me.
I just like to reference that one scene and say anything whenever possible.
Yeah. Have you ever noticed that he's only like his big moment in every movie is him out in the rain?
I never
With his
noticed
shirt
that.
off.
Go watch Grosse Point Blank, High Fidelity. Where he's standing outside calling her from the payphone.
Yeah.
Grosse Point Blank. He's like rolling in the mud, like hiding from someone behind the bench. He's a hitman. Have you ever seen Grosse Point Blank?
It's a great movie.
It's a great movie. Go watch it. It's one of the best screenplays for that era and that kind of movie. It's great.
Okay, so yeah, sorry, that's a great song. Second part of the topic is the idea of, because we all kind of talked about something that's like taboo. So it's that idea of taboo. Why do we do that? And why can't we just be comfortable wearing whatever we want to wear? Maybe today you want to wear a pink velour gown. Why is that not cool for a dude to do that?
Do you want to do that secretly?
No, not necessarily.
You
think
seem,
it'd be cool.
pretty quick with that
I-
example.
I was-
I actually was reaching. I was like, you gotta come up with something.
If all of a sudden there was like they were just like, yeah, you can wear a dress, like, and no one was gonna judge me for it, I would probably do
Okay,
it.
so that's it. Why does it matter that someone's judging you?
Because I don't actually want to wear one. It's not like something I would grab off the shelf and be like, this would look good on me. Because I'm used to wearing men's clothing.
Yeah.
But if all of a sudden it was like, your options have increased, go try on these man dresses. And they were like a suit.
But a dress.
I would go try one on.
Women wear power suits, and we call that dressing up for women, right? Women get the full range of male wardrobe, and we don't, like, as much as people could maybe argue that that's empowering women, and in some ways I guess it is, there is that weird double standard, right? Of like, we don't think it's weird when women replicate men's attire, but when men replicate women's attire, it's like, that's weird. That guy has
Feminization is like
that
a
guy
dirty
has a
word.
ponytail.
Yeah, like that's an easy one. But I was even thinking like
Damn kid in Wisconsin who kept
Swears.
telling me I was a girl because I had
Like-
long hair.
swear words.
You're a girl.
What's the big deal with swears? Why are they?
I don't know.
Yeah, the idea
Well, a
of
word
bad
like
words
that, like
is so
that,
weird.
that
Like,
word just intrigues me so much.
I love it. It's my favorite word.
It can be used so many different ways.
It was coined by Hitler.
No.
What?
It's not true.
There's got to be something though. Like I think if we like dig into the history of it, there's got to be a reason why you can't say these words because they really have there's no standard for why you can't say them. What's the good reason?
Steven Pinker has a book about just the way we interact with language and how we how we cognitively experience language and why certain words and certain things are taboo. There's a whole chapter on swear words. It's great. Go listen to it. The Stuff of Thought, maybe. Steven Pinker. Go look up Steven Pinker. But he sort of talks about how they all have this root in something that we find gross. Like shit is a swear because it makes people uncomfortable because it makes them visualize
Poop.
shit. But when we're okay with it, it's usually if someone goes, ah shit. Exclamatory swears are usually less offensive to us than if someone was like, just took a shit.
Yeah. So shit the other day.
That's gross.
And
I would be grossed out if someone's like, I'm just gonna go take a shit. Like, oh, dude, stop it. Or someone's using, just so I don't have to bleep all this, if someone's using the F-bomb to describe the act,
Yeah.
it's more vulgar because it makes you picture something. If someone says, no, f*** you.
Yeah.
No one's gonna picture the meaning of that word in that context because it doesn't literally make sense
Yeah.
the way that's framed, right?
Yeah.
So it all has to do with, or at least his hypothesis is that it all has to do with the way that it evokes the meaning of the word and how we have vulgarity.
But I was even thinking, like, that's just another example, right? Like, words, clothing. We're supposed to be living in this, like, free society where we can do and think and act as we please as long as we're not hurting another individual. But there's all of these, like, societal taboos that we're just, like, not supposed to do. And you're supposed to know them without ever having to talk about them.
No.
It's like, what kind of nonsense is this? Like, why can't we're supposed to be adults? Why
the
can't
smoke
we?
monster will get you if you ask too many questions.
It's like still.
Hold on, I'm lost.
I'm not trying to. I don't want to make it a religious thing, but it does kind of feel like dogmatic in a way. Like it's kind of like this overpowering. Like, no, you can't do that because the rest of us don't think you should be doing that.
That's exactly what it is, though. Offense is in the eye of the beholder. Offense is taken.
Yeah.
I don't understand the evolution of human culture, obviously. Otherwise, I would rule you all. But we've seen, like, even in the 20th century, I assume we've seen, based on watching Mad Men, this shift from people, like, not even being able to talk about their feelings at all. So the whole idea of, like, people even being willing to talk about sexuality in the open, like, Kinsey, even doing his sex studies, was, like, people were aghast.
Mm-hmm.
Some people refused to participate. Other people were disgusted by some of the results and were thinking, like, this is pornographic. Just hearing this man describe the things he says excite him are disgusting to me. And I was having this conversation with somebody else via text. It's really interesting to me that hot media like writing, she was saying, well, you just you reduced me to the subject and just sort of wrote at me, and you didn't really think about whether or not I would take offense. But I didn't strap her to a chair and make her watch, like, Saw 2. You know, and even if I did, I didn't do what is the cool thing called that they do?
Clockwork Orange thing.
Yeah.
Oh, were they like...
Yeah. He's cured from being cured. When he sings, why don't you go, love yourself?
Yeah. Yeah.
Might as well, why don't you go, love yourself?
Ed Sheeran actually wrote that song, and Justin Bieber changed the words. It was just called yourself.
What was my point, other than I'm secretly jealous of Ed Sheeran?
We were talking about
Offense is in the eye of
yes.
the beholder. You're always going to be beholden. As long as we have that culture of acceptance and we trump that freedom up and hold that flag up first. Yeah, I'm talking about you. Then we're going to be able to use that as an excuse to actually silence people. That's the problem we're seeing now with this whole freedom of speech thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is like when freedom of speech and political correctness get in the way of proper discourse, when it's like, oh, well, that girl doesn't understand what the Nazis are and how horrible the thing she just said is. That doesn't necessarily matter, because what matters is, would she make a good politician? But instead it's just like people focus on the wrong things.
Well, and even just this whole, like, everyone's up in arms, SJWs are stomping on my rights to free speech. Like, I would never self-identify as a social justice warrior, but if that's our bad word, that someone's a warrior for social justice, it's like, I know it's meant to be hyperbolic and like, oh, you think you're fighting for some cause, but the same people who are throwing that at people and calling them snowflakes and calling them libtards, people who are saying these things are also the ones who were historically offended by people talking about their way of life, their religion, all of these things.
They're offended just for them to go out of their way to say something back to them proves that whatever they said, they get offended, now offended them that you were offended.
But we have to respect people's right to be offended. We have to respect the fact that that's the whole caveat of as long as you're not hurting somebody else, right? Just how hard can you step on the other person's neck before you're impacting their life negatively? It's like...
And it's probably different depending on the person. Some people take things really personally, right? Like,
yeah.
Sometimes you ruin the season finale of Lost for your buddy when you tell him that John Locke isn't dead.
John Locke's not... I haven't finished Lost, damn it.
Oh, man, everything after season 3 is a giant cluster bleed.
Yeah, you should probably stop watching.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got that extra 3% on DVD sales, you stupid writers.
I'm just waiting to see what happens to the polar bears.
Oh, buddy. Smoke Monster ate him.
They're just making stuff up now. But that was hilarious. But you actually not finished watching it?
Yeah, I stopped like around season 4. Okay.
Can't wait to see what happens to this polar bears.
But yeah, you have to respect the fact that people are going to say that offends me, and then you have to back off. Like, yeah, just to wrap
Do you
up
have to back off?
Well, that's the thing, right? If
Like,
I'm
I guess
writing something and you're reading it, if it's offending you, stop reading.
Yeah.
But then she continues to read, I don't know, out of respect for me, or maybe there was part of her that wanted to read on even though it was something that was offending her. But it's like, that's what I would take issue with, is when it's secretly taboo, and it's like you watch the porn to completion and you enjoy it. That was a poor choice of words. And then you write a letter to your congressperson and you're like, I just watched the most atrocious thing on the internet. Like, this stuff should be banned. It's bad for our kids.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then, meanwhile, yeah, you're secretly loving it.
Well, I think that's kind of where I wanted this to go was, is that really the society that we want to have? Is just this black book of things that we're not allowed to know?
No, I want to offend
everyone. But not to like intentionally to offend.
Like, to do stuff
like not intentionally to offend someone, but like,
you're not supposed to
do we want to have this like information and this knowledge not accessible just because some people say that I don't like the way that person looks, or I don't like the way that makes me feel, or I don't want to think about those things because they make me think about death or sadness or whatever.
Ignorance
But you
is
have
bliss,
to
maybe.
step out
But
knowing you're going to offend someone. Everything will offend someone. If I can say to someone I'm an atheist and offend them by stating my opinion because that reflects to them that I don't believe what they believe, then that alone, when they say they're a Christian, that means they just believe in one more thing than I do. They still don't believe in anyone else's God, right?
Yeah.
So it's
freedom of expression does not protect you from freedom of from consequence.
Exactly.
A lot of people think that when they say freedom of speech, what they're really saying is you're not allowed to get mad. It's like saying no offense. Tom, I hate you and I hope your family dies in a fire. No offense. It's okay. It's okay. I said no offense.
Yeah,
that's true.
I love your parents are wonderful.
that just kind of reminded me of a time I went to like a Christian university, and I had this massive like hipster. It was like a cool church where they had like rappers and all this stuff. But I remember, I remember we would all sit down as like just a group of peers as part of this church, and we'd watch. I remember clearly sitting down and watching Borat. As like as a study. We were studying just because we wanted to be culturally relevant, because we're hip Christians and we want to make Christianity relevant to this young new generation. So we're sitting there as a group of a bunch of dudes and girls, like Christians at the time, and then we were all just like power laughing through the whole movie. It was like, because it was funny. There was funny moments, and then after the movie was over, I just shut it right down, and then everybody just got real serious, and they're like, now let's talk about all the ways why this is bad and why our culture is going in a shitty direction and all this stuff and how this is like, and really it was like we were all laughing, enjoying a comedic movie together, and then next thing you know, it's like, no, like this was bad, or like, why did we laugh at that? We shouldn't have laughed at that. That wasn't funny, you know. And we had this big prayer session, and like, and it was really bizarre to me. So I think sometimes people get offended as sort of just like because they're insecure about the fact that maybe they found something funny, or they would want to participate in this thing, but they're worried about like the social stigmatization, or it's incongruous with the type of person that they want to be, so they can't allow themselves to just enjoy it. They just want to be, they just get offended because that's an insecurity in their self. It's just like internal conflict. Do you know what I mean?
No, I totally get it.
I would absolutely die on that hill, though. If people were trying to tell me that satire was in some way ruining our nation,
Yeah.
and we can't have movies like Borat. At what point in Borat does he sponsor any negative action towards any human being at all? It's satire.
Well, it's yeah.
But
You say when he's talking about kidnapping Pamela Anderson, and
but the point is, it's satire. When
if you obviously if you
like,
don't know what you're getting into, then.
But who watches that movie and goes, he must really think that men should be kidnapping women? The point is that we're supposed to think that guy's a jerk.
Yeah.
Like, no one, I mean, I shouldn't say no one. Lots of people probably watch that movie and go, Borat's the man. We should kidnap Pamela Anderson, man. Like, but those people suck.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't let them dictate what gets put on television.
Yeah.
Oh, but we have to respect the fact that they want to bury their head in the sand.
Then they don't watch Borat.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah.
But what if Borat's playing on the airplane?
Then
Or-
close your eyes or get a parachute. I'm not kidding. Like, if anyone ever tried to convince me that any type of satire was too far, I just disagree. I wouldn't watch some of it, but I think it has the right to be made. And then people have the right to decide whether or not they want to watch it.
You guys, we just need to buy a van and take up free basing. Let's just... It's not what you think.
But set up a free base for people to come and visit.
Unassisted climbing, and then you jump off the top of the mountain.